Plastic. What does that word truly mean for everyone? I'm sure it has a very negative connotation, right? Because plastic, toxic, you want to get rid of it. And while that's certainly true, that's kind of unrealistic at this point because plastic dominates so much of our lives. Like literally, everything is made out of plastic. And all this plastic translates into a lot of waste. The average American wastes around 110 pounds of plastic every single year. 300 million Americans, and that adds up pretty quickly. This is so problematic because plastic takes so dang long to degrade, around 500 years on average. And even then, it's to an extent because we're just left with microplastics. And throughout this entire process, releases tons of harmful chemicals like carbon dioxide, sulfur, methane, and polychlorinated biphenyls that are very damaging to the environment and to us as humans. Because around 1 million people die every single year, mostly in developing countries, because of plastic pollution. And so begs the question, how do we transition from a plastic dependent world to a plastic free one? Well, the answer lies in SealXX. Now, SealXX is a completely new type of material. Just throw the word plastic out the window because we don't need it anymore. It's a relic. SealXX is a new thing. At SealXX, our vision is to enable our customers to build a sustainable and healthy lifestyle for themselves and for the people around them. We achieve this by building and producing plastic products that we use on a daily basis with natural protein-based processes. This is something known as biomimicry, where we emulate nature's designs into our very own. For this particular case, we'll be looking at mussels. No, not your muscles, the muscles under the sea. These muscles are so freaking cool. We all know muscles attach to things, right? And they do this by extending little hair-like threads and attaching to things like rocks. But these threads, they're vulnerable because they are made out of protein, and so microbes see them as food. So to protect their beloved threads, the muscles secrete a fluid-like gel to act as a sealant over the thread called a cuticle. This cuticle has three major components. First off, it's made entirely in water. Secondly, it is made out of protein. However, the main difference here is it has covalent bonds of hydrogen and iron to support durability. So, emulating these three major components, we can create SealXX. Now, for our proteins, we have alginate, which has a negative charge, and gelatin, which has a positive charge. Once these soluble proteins are dissolved in water, they find each other and eventually form covalent bonds, sharing electrons and neutralizing their charge. This creates a new compound, and when enough of these compounds form, they kind of clump up into a balloon, and once it reaches its max capacity, it pops and undergoes a process known as phase separation, where basically the compounds disperse evenly to the bottom of the water. This creates the hydrogel. And once we isolate the hydrogel from the water, we can literally mold it into any shape that we want because at this point, it's still in a liquid-like phase. And so once we dry this hydrogel, we have our product. And this product has a wide range of applications, all the way from wrappers to containers to bags. And it holds an edge over many of the modern bioplastics that we see today because it is 100% natural. Many bioplastics require special facilities to actually degrade, and most of the time they just end up in the open environment where they're just as bad as regular plastics. However, in the case of SealXX, you can literally compost it right in your backyard or throw it out right on the street. It's not recommended, but technically it's possible, and it has no environmental consequences. And this isn't just like a fantasy idea either. When asked about the feasibility of our product, Professor Herbert White, who studies structural proteins and protein cross-linking at the University of California, stated, "In my opinion, it's possible, even imperative." Now, obviously, the world isn't going to magically be healthy tomorrow, right? It's up to us, every single one of us, to drive that change, and SealXX is definitely a right step in that direction. It's time for us to completely eradicate the toxic footprint that plastic has left on this beautiful planet. We need to enable a world, a future, with nature at its forefront, and SealXX, that's the way to go.